I think that's what it does when it starts recording.
Okay. So this is group 5. Group 4. We are doing. Um, each one of us is gonna be reading a question and answering it. I'll be doing number 1, and the question is, what is the significance of the change in the chromosome number within weight? After watching the video, I discovered that the change in the chromosome number within the wheat is significant because it has resulted in greater genetic complexity and diversity, which has allowed for the development of different species with a variety of traits. These changes occurs during a process called polyploid, where wheat gain extra sets of chromosomes through natural hybridization over time. So basically, it's like for example, modern wheat like bread, it have like 6 sets of chromosomes, and ancient wheat has fewer sets of chromosomes, which is it's either diploid or tetraploid. The increase in chromosome number has contributed to with ability to adapt to different environments, improved and gained size and yield, and has given it more resistance to diseases and pets. This chromosome evaluation is a key factor that has made wheat one of the most widely grown.
Cool.
Cool.
I worked on question 2, and it says compare the glycemic index of wheat and sugar based upon the information presented in the video. And I found that, well, first I Googled what glycemic index was, and it is the scale of 0 to 100, and it determines the impact of different foods on a person's blood sugar level. And so obviously, like the closer to 100 it is, the more effect it'll have on blood sugar, and then closer to 0, the less effect. And then it said compare wheat bread and sugar, and I found out that wheat bread has a higher glycemic index of 72, or sugar has a glycemic index of 59. So that just means like wheat bread will cause like a higher spike in your blood sugar, and sugar will cause a higher spike also. But I guess it probably just wasn't. I mean, a lower. It caused a high spike, but lower than wheat bread, but just probably won't last as long as the wheat bread does on the blood sugar. And that's all for me.
I had question, or we kind of all had question 3, but I'll talk about question 3. It says correlate Dr. Davis's discussion of opioid peptides and wheat and the effect on human physiology. So from the video, it said that wheat kind of acts like an opiate, that it stimulates, but it said that it stimulated appetite, kind of not like let's say morphine stimulates pain relief. Uh, Wheat had the effect of stimulating your appetite, even though we looked it up and kind of found contradicting stuff on the internet. But we're going off of just what he said in the video and that it stimulates appetite. And then I also had question 4, which was, what do plants innately possess to protect themselves? So for the plants, I found that lectins are what protects the plant, which is a protein that's toxic to molds, fungi, insects, and other things. But it's in the video. He said that there's lectins that are benign, like spinach, but there's also some that are very toxic that are used in terrorist attacks, like ricin. But there's also the middle ground, which is, I don't know how to say it. I thought it was gluten at first, but it's wheat germagglutination, which is kind of a middle ground where the example he said is that humans consume 10 to 20 grams a daily, which is not gonna harm us. But if a rat was to take it, 1 milligram, then it would destroy their small intestine. So that's all I have for that. That's how they protect themselves and how they do it.
Okay, and I had question number 5. So this was based upon learning in this, or you're learning in this video, how will you utilize this information moving forward, personally or professionally? And then it says some group members might have different opinions, and that's okay. If you don't agree collectively as a group, you can say that. But so overall, the video is pretty much, the message of the video is saying how our whole lives we're kind of told that wheat is the healthier option, like, oh yeah, wheat instead of white, whatever. But It's a lot deeper than that, and it's not good for you ultimately. And the one thing that I was really interested in is when he started talking about the gluten-free. So currently, like if you have celiac disease or whatever, the way they make it right now is that in order to replace the wheat factors in the food that typically require gluten, they are substituting it with rice starch, cornstarch, and potato starch, all of which are known to raise blood sugar. So another just unhealthy factor to people's diets. And the speaker basically said that eating gluten-free is no better than eating jelly beans. So there's really no healthy way to go. You're eating wheat, you have a bunch of problems, which I'll talk about. Gluten-free is no better. And he said that in the future, they kind of want to try to make gluten-free without all that nasty stuff, but it just hasn't happened yet. Where I'm going with that is, as a healthcare provider, when it comes to that stuff, a lot of the advice that we're probably going to have to give our patients who are unhealthy is diet substitutes, because a lot of the times health issues are due to a bad diet and obesity, and those they all circle back to the same thing. So as a provider, something that I took from what he said is that if you cut out wheat, you'll experience rapid weight loss. So he said with 7 to 15 pounds within a couple of weeks, and then he said 18 to 20 pounds within a month, which doesn't even sound realistic, but that's what the guy said. And then back to the appetite thing, he also said that it helps with frequent appetite. So the way he explained it was saying that the more that you consume wheat over time, it kind of makes you hungry all the time. But he says as soon as you start to cut out the wheat, you're not as hungry as frequently either. So it all just circles back to being unhealthy, overeating, and being overweight. And then how I would use it. I currently work in pain management just as a medical assistant, but something that he mentioned kind of resonated with me is he said that it can actually help with pain. He said that they mostly see finger and wrist and joint pains. And then he said recently they've been seeing some low back, knee, hip pain eliminated, but it's an inflammatory response. So instead of just telling people like, oh, you're in pain because you need to stop eating so much, you'd say, I would know that because of the wheat factor. I'd just say cut out wheat because it'll help with your with everything inflammatory. And then I wrote down a bunch of stuff too about like other substitutes, but I'll put it in the Word document. So yeah. I don't know that I would use that personally. Like it was cool to learn, but it's hard to apply that diet stuff to yourself because life is expensive and hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to eat healthy because everything's so expensive. So it's just hard to do that right now. But I would tell my patients that.
Yeah, preach it, but not practice. That's what I would do too.
Preach it, but
I'd
not
be like, no,
practice.
don't do that. But I'm not gonna change, honestly.
Yeah.
Wheat's good, man. Wheat's good.
It's good. I like it.
I'm not gonna lie and say I'm gonna change.
Exactly.
But yeah. But
It makes sense. Maybe one day, but it makes.
Maybe one
I
day
love
when we
wheat.
get that much money, yeah.
I love a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
yeah.
Who's your... Oh, Sebastian, just stop. Can you stop the recording?
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
See you guys.